1. In developing a professional learning module for teachers on interpreting NAPLAN data, which principle of adult learning is most essential to ensure engagement? A. Incorporating rote memorization strategies. B. Providing opportunities to link data analysis to classroom practice. C. Requiring teachers to pass a standardized exam before application. D. Delivering content in lecture-only format. 2. When evaluating the effectiveness of a school's NAPLAN preparation program, which method best reflects a formative evaluation approach? A. Conducting a summative report at the end of the academic year. B. Analyzing only the national level results after release. C. Gathering ongoing teacher and student feedback during the program. D. Waiting until 2 years of NAPLAN cycles are complete. 3. Which curriculum development strategy aligns most closely with NAPLAN's objective to assess literacy and numeracy progress across year levels? Designing lessons based solely on teacher preference. B. Mapping curriculum content directly to the national standards framework. C. Eliminating cross-curricular skills from lesson planning. D. Ignoring data trends from prior NAPLAN assessments. 4. A mentor supporting a new teacher in preparing students for NAPLAN should prioritize which technique? A. Directing the teacher to online tutorials only. B. Modeling effective data-driven instruction and debriefing afterward. C. Minimizing feedback to avoid overwhelming the teacher. D. Insisting on rigid adherence to a single instructional style. 5. Under regulatory compliance for standardized testing, which responsibility rests primarily with the school test coordinator? A. Setting national benchmarks. B. Designing test items. C. Ensuring security of test papers and adherence to protocols. D. Training policymakers in test administration. 6. Which communication strategy is most effective for explaining NAPLAN results to parents with limited statistical background? A. Using highly technical psychometric terminology. B. Sharing graphical representations in plain language summaries. Presenting only raw score data without context. D. Avoiding explanations to prevent confusion. 7. Which of the following is an example of summative evaluation in the context of NAPLAN? A. Conducting a practice writing task and giving immediate feedback. B. Using student NAPLAN results to adjust national curriculum standards. C. Holding peer teaching sessions during the school year. D. Administering exit tickets at the end of a literacy lesson. 8. Which adult learning principle is demonstrated when professional development workshops allow teachers to reflect on their own NAPLAN teaching practices? A. Learning is dependent solely on external rewards. B. Adults are motivated primarily by compliance mandates. C. Adults bring prior experiences that shape current learning. D. Learning is most effective through passive listening. 9. In curriculum alignment with NAPLAN, which approach best ensures sustained student achievement? A. Isolating NAPLAN preparation from the broader curriculum. B. Integrating literacy and numeracy skills into daily learning activities. C. Teaching exclusively from past test papers. D. Delaying NAPLAN preparation until the final term. 10. When mentoring a colleague, which practice best fosters reflective teaching linked to NAPLAN data? A. Sharing general advice without classroom observation. B. Using structured post-observation discussions to analyze practice. C. Correcting teaching strategies without explanation. D. Encouraging avoidance of data-driven practices. 11. Which communication method would most effectively engage a community group about the purpose of NAPLAN? A. Delivering a technical lecture on psychometrics. B. Sharing stories of how NAPLAN results informed school improvement. C. Providing national data tables without interpretation. D. Withholding details due to confidentiality concerns. 12. When evaluating NAPLAN practice tests, which criterion ensures reliability? A. Consistency of results across multiple administrations. B. Alignment with student interest surveys. C. Variety of formatting styles in test questions. D. Frequency of teacher-led discussion. 13. Which regulatory requirement is emphasized in NAPLAN administration protocols? A. Allowing teachers to preview test papers for lesson planning. B. Ensuring standardized test conditions for all students. C. Permitting alterations to test items for differentiation. D. Sharing student responses for community analysis. 14. In professional development, how can adult learning theory enhance teacher readiness for NAPLAN instruction? A. By emphasizing teacher autonomy and problem-centered learning. B. By mandating uniform compliance regardless of context. C. By restricting reflection to maintain focus. D. By avoiding connections to prior experience. 15. Which of the following is the primary purpose of benchmarking through NAPLAN? A. To rank individual teachers. B. To provide nationally comparable data on student progress. C. To replace classroom assessments. D. To enforce uniform teaching strategies. 16. Which evaluation method would best assess the immediate impact of NAPLAN-related workshops on teacher practice? A. Conducting interviews 6 months later only. B. Administering pre- and post-workshop surveys. C. Comparing test scores over 3 years. D. Ignoring teacher feedback. 17. In mentoring, how does scaffolding support a novice teacher preparing for NAPLAN? A. By providing decreasing levels of support as competence grows. B. By maintaining identical assistance throughout. C. By eliminating opportunities for independent practice. D. By discouraging experimentation with strategies. 18. Which communication principles should guide feedback to students after a NAPLAN practice test? A. Provide constructive, actionable guidance linked to learning goals. B. Emphasize scores without explanation. C. Use overly complex vocabulary. D. Delay feedback until final reports are published. 19. In curriculum development, what role does backward design play in preparing for NAPLAN? Starting with learning outcomes aligned to assessment criteria. B. Designing activities without defined goals. C. Choosing resources before establishing outcomes. D. Excluding assessment alignment from planning. 20. Which regulatory compliance measure ensures fairness in NAPLAN administration? A. Allowing different test durations per student without justification. B. Maintaining confidentiality and secure handling of test materials. C. Releasing answer keys during the test window. D. Providing teachers with scripts to interpret test items for students. 21. Which mentoring approach enhances teacher capacity for data literacy in NAPLAN? A. Guiding teachers to analyze trends and set instructional goals. B. Limiting discussions to school-wide averages only. C. Avoiding the use of student data to reduce workload. D. Relying solely on administrative interpretations. 22. Which evaluation method emphasizes continuous improvement in NAPLAN preparation? A. Action research conducted by teachers in their classrooms. B. Annual reporting only at the district level. C. Ignoring qualitative insights from educators. D. Sole reliance on national data comparisons. 23. In adult learning, self-directed inquiry into NAPLAN test frameworks demonstrates A. Compliance-only motivation. B. Learner autonomy and intrinsic motivation. C. Avoidance of responsibility. D. Exclusive reliance on external evaluation. 24. Which communication strategy promotes transparency when sharing NAPLAN school reports? A. Providing clear comparisons to national averages. B. Sharing raw scores only without context. C. Avoiding community discussion to limit criticism. D. Highlighting only positive outcomes. 25. Which curriculum development process is most effective for long-term NAPLAN improvement? A. Reviewing data, identifying gaps, and adjusting instructional design. B. Repeating the same teaching plan annually regardless of outcomes. C. Isolating NAPLAN from daily teaching practice. D. Using test preparation only in the final weeks. 26. Which mentoring feedback technique aligns with adult learning principles? A. Using collaborative dialogue to co-construct solutions. B. Giving directives without explanation. C. Avoiding difficult conversations about practice. D. Relying exclusively on written feedback. 27. A key difference between formative and summative evaluation in the NAPLAN context is A. Formative focuses on improvement during the process, summative on final outcomes. B. Summative always uses surveys, formative always uses tests. C. Formative ignores ongoing progress, summative tracks growth. D. Both are interchangeable in application. 28. Which regulatory compliance factor protects the integrity of NAPLAN? A. Ensuring equitable accommodations for students with disabilities. B. Allowing schools to alter items for easier interpretation. C. Sharing test content on social media for practice. D. Conducting tests at varying times across the country without regulation. 29. In adult learning, experiential activities and NAPLAN-focused workshops foster A. Abstract theory without context. B. Practical application of knowledge to real-world teaching. C. Passive listening without engagement. Memorization of unrelated facts. 30. Which evaluation tool best measures the effectiveness of NAPLAN-aligned teaching interventions? A. Pre- and post-assessment data with reflective teacher notes. B. Teacher intuition alone. C. General community surveys unrelated to teaching. D. Observing student behavior informally without criteria.